What's up, Holly? Holly and Ace are having a blast here. So I'm on the south hill here, and I'm gonna keep this short. I don't have a great ton of batteries, but I am really excited because just so many things have been happening. I'm trying really hard to keep things grounded and working with a lot of good people to make sure that we're not just rushing ahead beyond what is the sort of appropriate pace. But then, when you're changing history, when you're uncovering massive patterns of interconnected realities, it's just an absolute blessing to be part of, and I don't really want to ignore realities. So, I'm definitely here now doing these videos. It's a beautiful day. We're getting our grass cut, and grateful to our team of people doing all the pieces here and helping out on every level. It's really, there's a lot going on. So the parabola of Stoneworks here is significant enough that I am definitely going all in as far as making sure that we do justice to doing the archaeology correct. Towards that end, I'm trying to bring archaeologists here, and it's really hard to get people's bandwidth and attention these days because, when it's you're pressed already with all the things going on, like it's hard enough to then wrap your head around these really massive, not claims so much as like how do you do the fact checking and proof things. And that's where I come in, and I'm like, look, let's make it easy on you. I'm gonna do the fact checking for you. We're gonna do all the science, all the math. I get it, not everybody's remembering their isosceles versus equilateral and history and geology, and I didn't either. I had to learn a lot of this stuff or relearn some. And there's just a lot to, I think, reflect what I found in the stoneworks is just something where the symmetry of angles, the absolute carvings, the astral connectivity, these are things that I couldn't deny personally as being real, in whatever sort of philosophical sense we can talk about real. But, there's all sorts of repeating shapes. This kind of diamond pattern with a sloped side actually repeats. I have a small little bit right there in that parallelogram. The larger bit down here on the other side. I believe those rocks down there all were part of the sort of head of this effigy that maybe got blown out at a later date. Could have been the Nordic wave that they needed a sight line to where they recalibrated the cartography to all the mountain peaks. I don't know. And, those are things that we could figure out in time, but there's definitely a lot of work here that's got to get done, and stuff that we're doing to make sure that all of this is preserved properly. So part of that includes basically making fall traps for trees as we're dropping them so they don't break the stones or alter them. I've been doing that pretty successfully across the majority of this site, and this is the site that would be the spiral tail. Winter solstice sunrise is coming up in that direction, and the winter solstice sunset is off in, let's see if we can get there from here, this direction. Oops. Took a little tumble, but we saved it. So Camel's Hump is back there, and that is the wind gap there. So yeah, that's the direction of the winter solstice at the sunset. So now the other part is, as you can just see that knob sticking right up, that if you keep following the trajectory from here to there, dogs are okay, they're playing. That takes you to Poverty Point, Louisiana, in the mound system there. If you go from here, just symmetrically, it's about 5 degrees, I think, to the north, it's just right below the summit of Camel's Hump, and then that same distance to Camel's Hump. Those 3 points are Hopewell mound site is in the middle, and then the Newark mound site is both of those in Ohio. Goes over to Camel's Hump from here. So those are the ways in which we have divided up all of the 360 degrees that exist, believing that this here was an atlas that once spoke to that and did that here as a cartography center. So as all of this stuff is getting pretty much, this is going to get taken down. These are just being sort of architecturally positioned, dried and peeled, and then we'll be using some of that stuff all to just kind of save these stoneworks as we drop the rest of these trees. But this is the spiral side of the winter solstice on the southern mound. It would ride all the way out. It goes all the way back down and around over towards the quarry, headed back east, and then I think now some sort of looping spiral pattern to reflect the equinox, or just kind of that double wide pool with a water source in it that could have been used for cartography as well, as I've posited in other videos. And then it's off to the northern mound, where the parabola would be picked up, and then the head of the Ouroboros snake would cross the waterworks road and up into the headwaters to the summer solstice sunrise. And so that is effectively what we got going on. And these are some of the things that I've just now plotted out, so I thought I'd share that. I'll put this video with that, so as people are wondering how those lines, you know, there's a lime line to one of the sites, there's a tangerine line and a red line. And those three wider, thicker lines to those different mound sites represent the lines that run right from this location here, where that flag is, and it goes all the way out past Camel's Hump and off to those mound sites. And they would hold the exact same position of sunset for summer solstice and for winter solstice, except they would be adjusted for those locations. So the degrees to which you could then run a 90 degrees off of this magnetic north-south line basically is your triangle. So if you basically run 90 degrees to those sites through the parabolas that intersect with those effigies, you would then be able to canter off and figure out that, like Louisiana, I believe it's like a 70-degree angle of the effigy itself, and so that rotates backwards to a 30-degree, or is it a 20-degree? I think 20-degree. In any event, the offset is basically the trajectory of that angle backwards. I don't know if it's I think it is the 90 degrees. So you'd probably, if it was 70 degrees, have a 20-degree arc, which would maybe explain those three cut points as two intervals of 10 degrees, possibly. I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's one quick way of getting at kind of a crude estimate. And there's a bunch of other mound sites in between that are still yet unplotted on GPS. So it could be down to 5-degree increments and 1-degree increments, but at least as far as connecting those three observatories that I did today, just as a fact check, pretty much not only do they connect on a fairly, symmetrical distance of mileage apart, or degrees apart rather, but they also reflect the exact same solar conditions of sunset and sunset parabola relative to the theory of the parabolas here. So that's all I want to share, but yeah, a lot of progress being made. Hope everybody's doing well, and wishing everybody peace.